Hello and welcome to episode 58 of an Earful podcast with me, Matt Lunn, and my good friend, Mike Ashton. How are we doing today?
Good, yeah. So on this episode, we've got Harry Rule of now Blood Youth as the new vocalist. We talk about how he came to join the band. We talk about tour driving stories, as he used to drive different other bands around as well. We talk about how he got his start in music. And then we've got our usual segments, what's your favourite scary movie and pet peeves. And the what's your favourite scary movie was a good answer as well. It's a new one. So
caught me off guard.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. And it turns out that we have a few connections from his past of when he started out in music, which was pretty cool to find out. Nice. But you get to know all about that. Want to give a massive shout out to all the people that have started following us recently, sharing our stuff and interacting with us on our socials. And if you want to be a part of that, make sure you go and check us out on all social medias at an Earful podcast. That's YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the usual places. But anyway, enjoy the episode.
Enjoy.
We're back in person for our podcast.
I know, this is fucking weird. How's it going, Harry?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
I'm not bad. Like I was saying to you before, this is my first gig back since lockdown.
Oh, really?
So this is weird shit. So how's it been for you? You're on day 5 now, aren't you?
You tell me, mate.
It all becomes a blur.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. How have you found it all so far?
So far, so good.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been going really well. People have been receptive. I've been welcomed nicely in
Good.
every city we've been to. So yeah.
So has it settled in then yet? Like joining the band and like.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah. See, we were discussing before. It's a unique scenario that you kind of come into now, where there's an album coming out, where there's been singles coming out. Obviously, Kaya is now departed after Slam Dunk, and you've now joined the reins. How's that process been?
Different, but I suppose, I don't know if you've seen the videos. We slowly subliminally started introducing me into the videos,
right?
And that's been good. And I suppose that was quite a smooth transition then, because it showed me in the videos, and part of the assets, part of the band in a way.
Yeah.
It's definitely smoother than I've seen a lot of other transitions in the past.
Absolutely.
With bands. And it's just good to be able to do that and have that amount of space and time.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's with, Kaya doing his finishing his final shows and releasing the album and stuff. It's given us that ability to just say, right, what would be the best way we can do this? And that's what we've done.
Absolutely. So in terms of timeline then, so how long ago was it when they kind of pitched you the idea of joining Blood Youth?
Towards the end of May.
Right, okay.
We started having a chat and
right.
I was informed, and so then I'd got a few auditions sent over to them, just performing over the instrumentals in my house. I've got a little recording rig set up. Sorry, I'm really tired.
Don't worry about that.
So I fired a few audition videos over, and he liked them. So we moved forward from there. I already kind of knew the guys anyway. We're friends. We worked a little bit. I drive bands on tour, so I worked with them in 2019 on a tour.
Amazing.
And that's when we realised, we gel, and we've been friends since then, which obviously helped with getting me in the band, or being able to have those conversations immediately without it being an awkward situation. So it's felt really easy, like we're fairly seamless transition.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it so far.
That's awesome. So when you toured with him in 2019, was that the Bury Tomorrow tour?
No, it was a Starve tour. It was a headline with Lotus Eater and Palmer Reader in support, I believe.
Oh, that's awesome. Because when we last spoke to Blood Youth, it was with Kaya back when they were at Manchester Academy with Bury Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's nice seeing both, like, going from one chapter of the band to the next and seeing where it's going. It's an interesting aspect to go from, like, one stage to the next, and then just talk you through the process of how you've now come into terms of, like, becoming the vocalist of Blood Youth and that.
Yeah.
It's a cool scenario to be in. So, with coming into the upcoming album then, you've got your tour next year with Cane Hill.
Yes.
You look forward to it?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's my first bus tour.
Damn.
I'm excited.
Is there obviously this is going to be such an obvious question, but is there a massive difference between being in the life of the van and going to a bus?
Yeah, because the driver, he doesn't come into the show. He sleeps when he drops you off.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm because I drive bands in my splitter.
Yeah,
so so my old band, I would drive most of the tours myself. So I'd be doing a 16, 17 hour day.
Wow.
Barely getting some sleep, and then the next day I'd drive all day, and I'd be loading the gear in and out. I'd be wrapping cables, packing down. This will be fire out of the van.
Yeah.
At sound check.
Yeah.
I could sleep until then if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Finish, shower, get in the van. I could go to sleep, and I could repeat that. So I if I wanted to, could be awake for like 6 hours a day, which is perfect.
I guess it's like the intimacy as well, but I know obviously like a lot of people say it's just part of the experience, and it like being in like a little van together, like all squashed up.
Oh well, we've all been on lads holidays.
Yeah.
We've all been tired, cramped into a hotel room. You're really realising how little you fucking like your friends. But no, I'm joking. Like that's tour life. I'm used to it. Like I'm used to being in close quarters with people. Maybe often with people that I don't really know very well, which can be a bit jarring. Like I'm stuck in the van with. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's a bit like. Fuck these people. But because I know these lads, it'll be fantastic.
Yeah. It's the same with anything, though. It's like when you go like recording with your band and whatever, it's getting used to like the little ticks and stuff like that, and you either if you're fine with it or you just detest it after a certain length of time.
Well, there's that old adage, innit? Like you don't know someone properly until you live with them.
Yeah.
And I guess you get a little glimpse of that living with someone when you're on tour with them. So you get to see what their habits are. Yeah. And see what they're like when they've run out of energy. Some people are pure extroverts, aren't they, that put on a front, and then when they get home they recharge. They don't get that chance on a tour because I see you when you're recharging, you grumpy fuckers. Like cheer up, mate. We're on tour. But whereas me, I'm I guess not an introvert nor an extrovert. Yeah. I'm just constantly on a level. And I don't mind being able to take myself off and just to see you later. I'm just gonna fuck off. Put my headphones in.
I'm sort of like that where it's kind of like I'll socialise and there'll be a point where I'm like, I need me time.
Well, you come out your shell a bit more because we went recording once in Kent, and he doesn't really drink much. So like, we woke up this one morning, like I've told this story before on here, and we're sleeping in a caravan like down there, like near where the studio was. And I came out. It must have been like 10 o'clock, and he was sat on a bench, right, with a vest top on, shorts, leaning against the caravan with a can of Foster's in his hand. I was like, you wear pure white tracksuit.
You're a big lad. Are you from Warrington?
I'm from Wigan.
He's from Wigan.
Respect. Standard.
He's a Wiganer too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why are you so appalled by the Fosters?
I was just quite shocked though to see Matt because he doesn't drink much. So when I came,
of course.
His shorts and his vest and a can of Foster's, I was like,
there he is.
Swap it with a can of Stella and maybe.
To be fair, that was like on the last day. We've been there for the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think at that point I was just like, I'm done. Morning Fosters.
Yeah, sometimes you get to that point where you're just like.
So what's like the wildest? I would say the wildest. That's like the most like typical question to ask. So what's like one of the most standout stories from like driving bands around over the past few years when you've been doing it?
Oh God, what can I say on a podcast?
Let's go as loud as you want.
As well.
I know. Oh fucking hell! Tell you what, there was one time I stayed up for 36 hours and drove the whole time.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I basically, I was driving to pick up a band from Hamburg in Germany.
Right.
And they'd taken back. But the guy who was meant to be booking the ferries, my hostel that I could sleep halfway through the job, he didn't know that was his job, so no one had done it.
Right.
So they were like, shit, how are we going to get picked up from Hamburg? So I was like, just do whatever. So they booked me a midnight crossing. And I drove, and I went to the hostel, and I had about a couple hours, and I couldn't get to sleep because I'd woken up at midnight, you know what I mean? You just can't force sleep on yourself.
Yeah.
So then I got down to Hamburg, tried to sleep there. That couldn't happen. They only had a 2-hour window anyway. I was like, fuck it, just get in the van. So then we got back from Hamburg to Dunkirk.
Right.
And I had a little chance to sleep there, but then someone's child just ran over me while I was sleeping underneath a table. And I was like, right, I guess I'm up. So I had a little coffee. Then I did drops in London, Manchester, Preston, Liverpool, St Helens, and then went back to Warrington. And I'd bought an 8-pack of Red Bull, and I just worked out like my intervals, like boom, Red Bull, and that's what kept me awake. By the end of it, I was a shell of a man. So I guess that's quite insane.
So how long was like did it affect like your overall sleeping pattern for like being up for that long?
I felt like I had the flu for like the next day. I was just like,
But drinking that much Red Bull, I'd have the shits for like a week.
oh yeah, no, you really sometimes put your body on the line, and being sat in that position and like twisting and looking at your mirrors, and constantly checking. Like I was hallucinating at the wheel at some point. I saw like I was traveling down the Das Autobahn, and I saw a fucking cyclist whiz past me. And I'm like, fucking, what's he doing cycling at this time? There's no cyclist going faster than 70 miles an hour. That was just a fake cyclist that my brain decided to just project.
What?
Yeah. I was like, right, okay. Everyone else is snoring in the van. I'm just like, turn the podcast up a little bit. Just, come on, Harry. Yeah, I found that if you keep a little bit of water in your mouth, your brain goes, well, if he falls asleep, he'll drown, so let's keep him awake.
That's a good point. I mean, we've had close calls with Pearson driving, coming back from download once, and we decided it'd be a good idea to come back on the Sunday night after the band had finished.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I'm not going to say they would be on the podcast anyway.
You got to pick what you come up with. Well, Kent to Wigan's an hour and 40 minutes. So if you're struggling with that, then you need to grow the fuck up, sunshine.
He's there as well. He's listening. He's like, do not mention it. And there was a point where it was just me and him though, and I saw his head just hit the headrest, and he closed his eyes.
Oh no!
It was one of those things. Always, and I was going to go to sleep as well before it. Yeah, like I was going to. I'm going to get some sleep on the way if that's all right. And he's like, yeah, no problem, mate.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I just decided to stay awake. So if I didn't, we probably wouldn't.
There's another timeline in the multiverse where you're all dead.
Yeah,
definitely.
In the alternate line.
Could happen.
Darkest timeline.
No. There's darker ones than that, but let's not get into the multiverse now. How long have we got? I mean...
Fucking hell.
So, this tour's been promoted as like a more intimate experience. What would you say in terms of experience? Would you prefer like the shows where it's like a larger venue, or is it more like just like the more like intimate experience with like fans and that?
Well, coming from the hardcore scene...
Oh yeah, dude.
I like a smaller room.
Absolutely.
I like a sweaty mass of heaving bodies all punching the shit out of each other. But
just energy.
But obviously that's not what Blood Youth really is. It's beyond hardcore. It's their own style of metalcore, and so I feel more comfortable maybe in a smaller room that's tightly packed. But seeing them play Slam Dunk when I drove them there recently for Kaya's last few shows. I was just looking across the crowd thinking that'd be fantastic just to be up there. And I'm really looking forward to have those opportunities with them. It's a new world for me, obviously. I'm just up for it, you know what I mean? Yeah. Ready to go.
That must have been like a strange process, like actually driving Kaya to the last show that he was doing, and then you be taking the reins from there. That's such like a bizarre experience.
It might seem like that from outside, but inside, being part of these talks... being friends with Kaya, knowing him, like it was just great. It was nice to be there for his last few shows. I was just like talking to him about his warm up and stuff, and seeing like how he was doing that. He come off stage and they gave me a big hug after on the Sunday. And it's just nice. I liked it. I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere else.
No.
I was going to ask that. Was there any like collaboration in regards to like learning the songs and like, you know what I mean, especially with the newer stuff with you and Kaya? Just any like talks and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've asked him for some advice on a few things, but learning the songs, I've had to, because we only had 3 days before tour to get tour ready, because they were rehearsing with Kaya for Slam Dunk and then shooting videos. We've not really had time for me to come in, even though I've been technically like the new vocalist for like 14 weeks.
Right.
We've not had a chance to really get together, so we've done 3 or 4 days of full days of practice before the tour. So I was like, I've never done that before. I've never learnt a 40 odd minute set over a couple of days, and usually if I'm performing something, it's lyrics I've written. So I've gone over them in the studio and they've become ingrained in my head, and so I've had to try and learn all this stuff. And like there's for me, just maybe not for everyone, but there's a difference between listening to a song and remembering the lyrics to listening to it and remembering how it's performed. And it's a much more physical thing when you're actually performing it. And sometimes my brain is like a sieve. Sometimes it will remember things really well. So I was just trying to concentrate on learning them myself. I'm not sure what I could have asked him. How he can tell me how to help remember his stuff. So no, but yeah, he's been helpful.
Yeah.
Of course, like he's still best friends with all the guys. Like, there's no bad blood.
Yeah.
It's just it was time, I guess.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I remember when we spoke to him when they did the Bury Tomorrow tour. He was the nicest guy. Like
He is the nicest guy.
Like when we were speaking about the influences from the last album, like to reference one was like the last scene in Goodfellas, where we was talking about the helicopter over the top of the car and like the paranoia, and that's how we put like inspiration to some of them. Because like with us being like a part horror podcast as well.
Yeah, I believe so.
We were like, this is great. Like, someone who actually knows about horror, we can actually talk about all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But no, it's great that you give your arm with it, and I imagine it is a lot more interesting in terms of and a lot more full on trying to actually like analyze the process and how to like sing certain bits.
Yeah, especially skipping from screaming one section to singing in another one, which is new for me.
Yeah,
because I started singing in college. Went to do a BTEC music performance course in college when I was playing guitar and singing, and that's what I was being marked on, and that's what I would do my write-ups on. And then I got into screaming through that, just because at lunchtime we'd get our scran, go into one of the practice rooms, and we'd all just jam and stuff.
Yeah.
We'd rotate around the instruments, and one day we were just jamming some drop D metal. I got chucked the mic. I was like, "Oh, what do you want me to do?" And they were like, "Just make noise or whatever, doesn't matter." And I was like,
and that was it.
I got like 3 people messaging on MySpace like, "Join my band. Let's make some Parkway Drive derivative basic bitch metalcore." And I was like, "I'll do it." No, but no, it was fantastic. And then I just slowly but surely stopped singing altogether. Finished off my college course, and then I was just in metal bands. Moved to Manchester to study sound engineering, and then
where did you study?
SSR.
We on FutureWorks.
Yeah. I finished my first year at SSR. My tutor said, "You've passed by the skin of your teeth. You are going to fail your second year. Save yourself $9,500, mate, and fuck off." I was like, "All right, then, sound." I went to FutureWorks.
Hey.
And then that's a waste of money too.
Well,
I'm sure you all.
I left second year, and you managed to finish it off, didn't you?
It's a fucking con. Don't go to FutureWorks. Listeners and watchers, I don't give a shit. Sue me.
Rob McGooligan's watching as well.
Sorry, Rob.
Well, yeah, I don't know. But that's where I met other people in the metal world and I joined a deathcore band called Omega Particle.
Oh right,
yeah.
And that was fun. And then from there, obviously, it just kind of snowballed.
I think that's probably like the best advantage to like going to university, I'm guessing, and places like that in college, and like just collaborating with other musicians and people who have that same interest in you, because if they're studying at that level, obviously they've got some sort of like passion for it.
Yeah, I mean, I never really jumped in a band with any of my fellow students, but I was there in a city where it was happening. Gigs were 3 gigs a week kind of thing. I was knocking about the scene. Yeah, just met a few people. Then they would find out what I could do on the mic, and then boom, it was great. I loved it. I like being part of a scene.
So what was I imagine it's the exact same as Wigan. What was the scene like in Warrington?
Actually, not too bad. I started putting on free shows in a place called The Lounge. This is about 12 years ago now.
Right.
They said, if you can guarantee you can have 50 people in here drinking, we'll give you the free venue hire. And a sound engineer. And so it was like a basement venue, very low ceiling, a lot of feedback at 1K. But everyone in my college who was into riffs would come. So we'd have it packed all the way up the stairs. So I'd get one good band from Manchester, Liverpool or somewhere, whoever's willing to come down for free. And then it would be my Warrington metalcore band and maybe 1 or 2 other Warrington metalcore bands or Widnes or wherever, like near. And we'd just play riffs and everyone would kick off and it'd be mint, and we'd put loads of money behind the bar because everyone would just be bevying. It was like a monthly thing, and it was great. Everyone looked forward to them. And the bar manager was like, "Yeah, whenever you want, just put a gig on." Like, so our scene was fantastic. I think I'm really proud of it. I'm not saying that is my idea, but if it wasn't for me putting shows on, the only other shows that people would go to were these things called Plugged, which are like under 18s.
That.
Yeah, did you used to go to them
Didn't
at
used
Par
to
Hall?
go to. I think it was just the cusp of when we started to when we was finishing up high school and going into college, where they were about, but we never actually played them.
Yeah, so that was a similar thing. You'd have one big band headlining and then local bands and stuff, but that was in the Par Hall, which had a great PA and then a great sound desk, whereas the lounge was just a bar with a basement with a
Jesus Christ, that's going back.
Argos PA. Yeah. But yeah, that's the Warrington scene in a nutshell.
So, with you being around our area then, were you familiar with Matt's old band, Shipwrecked in Suburbia?
Yes.
Yes.
I know Nick Stirrup.
We went to his wedding the other week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How's he doing?
He's good.
He's good.
Really good.
Great.
He's doing well.
Happily married now.
Top guy. Nice fella.
Shout out to Nick.
Big up, Nick. What's going on?
Also, no, but there you go, mate.
Yeah, no, I like that chap. In fact, he was in my Future Works class.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Because I think he stayed on an extra year, and because he was in ours as well. Because we studied with him for
right.
2 years. I think,
yeah, he was in with me, and we didn't know each other.
So,
and then
so you must have been there just before we started.
Yeah.
Mad.
Passing ships, eh?
I know.
Passing ships that got shipwrecked in Suburbia. It's all full circle now. Come on then.
Should we do the segments then?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay then. So Harry,
you've been pre-warned, haven't you? By the way.
No.
Well, here we go then.
Here we go.
All right. So first segment is obviously with us being part horror podcast.
Okay.
Is what's your favourite scary movie?
The Thing, the original.
Nice.
It doesn't get any better.
You know about the John Carpenter's?
Of course.
Yeah. Nice.
The claustrophobia, the isolation.
Yeah.
The sheer unknowingness of it all.
Yeah.
She's like, and just the practical effects in the film itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wasn't knocking about in the 80s.
No.
But because without any CGI, the lengths they would have had to go to make it that horrendous is just impressive. So I appreciate that for what it is.
Yeah.
And my missus is a big horror fan. She's way more into it than me. And that's one of her favourites. And I guess, I don't know, being with someone like that, we've been together for 11 years.
Right.
She'll describe why things are great, and I'll be like, well, great, I guess so.
Yeah.
So we have a large A1 poster framed of The Thing in our kitchen.
Even the artwork as well.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
it's like, I think it's the original artwork. So it's like, he's wearing a parka and big shiny light coming out of it, heavy. And on that note, I love the way the new Thing, which virtually feels like a remake, but it's not. It's like a prequel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it leads on. Because the dog at the end that escapes from the new Thing, is the dog that runs to the base.
Right.
And the two guys in the helicopters who were throwing grenades at it, trying to kill it, they're in the new Thing. So so if you think about it, even though it follows the same structure, the remake, which isn't a remake, is a prequel. So basically the exact same events happened in a different base, and then that leads just smoothly onto the original.
Right.
And it's incredible.
Yeah. I've not watched the remake.
I thought you were horror guys.
I know.
No.
Well, watched the original countlessly, but the remake, no. But I get what you mean, though. So the unknowingness of the Thing, because you never see what exactly it is. You just see the transformation.
Yeah, so it must be like a bacteria.
Yeah, it's like a little, which is a bit like the film Life that we talked about as well on the podcast recently.
Yeah, love that film.
A little, you don't even know what that is either.
It comes out of his spine. Well, it's like something that takes on part of the DNA, works out how I'm gonna just fuck this host up.
It's fucked up, isn't it? I like what you were saying before, the practical effects from back then, any films from back then, The Thing, The Exorcist. Can you imagine being back at that time and experiencing that when it first came out, and there was nothing like that ever before? Yeah.
Have you seen all those cinema? They did test screenings of The Exorcist and stuff and films like that, and people were just
fainting.
In the corridor.
Oh, it's so fucked up. The best story I've heard about from when they were making The Exorcist is where they have the actual figure that its head spins. Yeah. And they popped it in a taxi in New York in the front seat. And when people looked at it, they made the head spin just to see how it freaked people out. Yeah. And the fact that that's now in a museum in New York freaks me out. You can just go in and it's there.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Does it puke?
It does not.
Who's asked?
But the fact that the way that they even did that, where it was like a prosthetic and they had like a tube underneath to kind of like spurt it out, and the actual take that they use is the one where it shot out more than they expected to. So like
everyone was in the room was actually surprised.
Yeah, so like Farrell Karras was like, "What the fuck?" Was like legit because he didn't expect to be covered that much.
That's sick. I didn't know that.
Because it was meant to like just go on his top, not his face, but then it loaded up too much and just like fired out and went in his face, and that reaction is like the legit reaction of him. That's
mad. What you hear of things like that happening in old horror films that they obviously can't get away with anymore. Like was it Kubrick was just tormenting Shelley Duvall on the set of and just so he could get like a real representation of a panicked woman. Like, you can't do that anymore. You will be sued into oblivion.
Well, it's another thing for The Exorcist where like the director would just like randomly fire a gun.
Oh yeah?
Just like...
Are you sure that wasn't just cocaine?
So like a bit where like the phone rings and he's meant to like jump at it, but when the phone's meant to ring, he just shot a gun instead. So
Jesus Christ.
Like, what the
fuck? Yeah.
So have you had it like any horror movie what's been so unnerving for you? It's like, even when you were younger growing up, like just shit you up as a kid?
Well, yeah. Remember one time, it was during the summer holidays, parents were asleep because they were going to work, and I was just watching TV. Blair Witch came on Channel 4. I would have been about 8 or 9 years old. So I was watching it, just thought this is intriguing. I've never seen like a documentary like this. Fully thinking that this was real. Yeah. Because it was very real. It's like really good found footage.
Yeah.
Like, it's fantastic because it shows like all the nuances, but and it feels real. And I was, as a kid, obviously I was stupid, so I was like
absorbed.
I mean, it just gets worse and worse. And I remember it finishing and just not wanting to move. Like, I'm not going upstairs, and I just sat on the couch, and then like some random like Channel 4 like Euro trash or something came on, and I just watched that, and then I slowly just bolted upstairs, got in my room, shut the door, banged all the lights on, and just sat in my bed like until the morning. Parents came in like, "We're going, Harry." I'm like, "Bye." Yeah, it was bad news bears.
It's the lack of closure that ended that film like proper, like,
yeah, when he's against the wall and his legs are just there.
Yeah.
That still fucks me up.
Again, that's another one you don't see. You don't see like the actual witch properly on it, do you?
Yeah, you're right.
Still fucks you up.
Well, that's it. The human mind is a lot more terrifying than something that someone can visually present to you.
100%. Yeah.
I think that's what ruins most like mystery horrors as such, where they kind of have this reveal and it's that didn't live up to my expectations.
Yeah, like Cloverfield. The what's it, 10 Cloverfield Lane, when they actually show the beast. That kind of is a bit rubbish, because Cloverfield is like people just getting like ripped apart, and you're like, what is doing this?
The face of the like Statue of Liberty just getting like
bolted. Yeah, what's going on? Like, I like that. But well, fuck it.
Same with Quiet Place, isn't it? Like, I feel that bothered me as well. Like, I didn't want to see what it is.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, we still go film.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
But I still would like some sort of like mystery to it.
Yeah. So like in Bird Box. Yeah. So you can't ever see it, and it's just it has something that is completely individual to the people who are viewing this entity in the sky or whatever. And they never really explain it. No. This isn't. And that's great, because it leaves everything up to your interpretation. But yeah, going back to Quiet Place, that was kind of ruined for me the first viewing of it, because obviously everything's silent as fuck, and there was a person in front of me, and they were trying to eat a pack of crisps, but they're trying to do it quiet.
That makes it worse.
Yeah, it's 10 times that, and they were like, can you not find like a silent food to eat, like marshmallows or... No, marshmallows.
Marshmallows. Yeah.
That's the only thing.
I even found myself like when I'm eating popcorn, I try and eat it quiet, because I even feel like that's always
you swallow them whole.
Yeah,
but like when it's dragged out though, when people try and eat quiet, it just gets louder, because everything is just like intensified, because everything's just like slow down.
It's like when you're trying to walk past your parents' door, because you don't want them to know that you've been awake all night, so you creak in every footstep. But if you just went, they'd be like, "What was that?" No idea. Back to bed.
But child logic is,
just accidentally find all the creaky floorboards.
You're like, I never knew this floor was so creaky until now.
I thought it was laminate.
So your cinema pet peeve brings into the segment quite nicely.
Okay.
So what is your pet peeve?
In what respect?
What pisses you off the most, and it could be anything.
What, in general?
In general.
Like anything petty, like as much as you want.
Oh, petty.
Yeah. We've had like people when they're eating biting the forks, chewing loudly.
In the cinema?
Walkers. No, just like in general.
Anything.
Sorry, man. I am knackered. I apologise.
Okay.
What annoys me the most? People in really nice cars just ragging it around the motorway, and then when you finally catch up to them in traffic, they just refuse to look at you. It's like, come on, accept your shame. Why are you just looking at the ground? Everyone saw you overtaking and undertaking and driving like a piece of shit. Just because you can afford a McLaren doesn't mean you are fucking Bruce Wayne, mate. Oh, give me some eye contact so I can see your shame, grin, and move on with my life.
When people bomb it, overtaking everything, and then you end up in the same place with them and you took the same amount of time.
Well, that's exactly what I mean. It's like
what's the point?
Yeah, you human piece of shit. But yeah, and have you ever done it on when you come to like a traffic light, and the person who's been bombing it around, driving like a wanker, is just parked like half a car's length beyond where the line is, so they don't have to make eye contact with anyone. Just grow up. If it makes you feel that bad, stop doing it. Downsize, get a Honda.
I was mentioning to the guys before, like, at the beginning of the week, I was going into the motorway to go to Wigan, and I was trying to indicate into the second lane, and someone in the taxi, the actual passenger, shoved his head out the window and went, "No one's going to let you in, you come." And then 2 seconds later, I drove past him because I went into the second lane and just was like, what was the point of that?
Yeah, some people don't understand merging, and that's what stops traffic, and you're a dick if you stop me from merging. That's what that lane's for. Oh, well. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand the road. But they're blazingly confident anyway.
It's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, but that's driving. I could talk about driving all day, but no one wants to hear about it.
No.
It's boring.
So, is there anything else that
that pisses me off?
Yeah, that pisses you off.
Ooh.
What about any tour pet peeves? Is anything like on tour or anything with bands?
Yeah. If I'm driving you to a show, I don't want to then go to a bar afterwards and wait outside for you. I don't want to then drive you to a petrol station that has booze. Like, I don't mind. Let's stop here, see if we get some booze. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go out of my way. Like, my job is to get you to the gig, and then from the gig to the accommodation.
Yeah.
And then get as much sleep as I can for the next day.
Yeah.
But some people think they're paying chauffeur prices.
Yeah.
Which is a vastly different enterprise. Like, if you're there,
that sucks though, doesn't it? It's just,
it's just inexperienced people just thinking that you're going to be doing all this mad shit. I had a band recently, not too recent, either recent or not recent enough that the band I'm talking about can't work out it's them. So fuck you. We kept stopping at petrol stations and at services for a wee, and they were just looking for beer. Fuck off. Yeah, but so that's annoying. But let's not talk about annoying things. No one wants to hear what's negative, do they? Unless your listeners are just entrenched in negativity.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough then. What else pisses me off?
What's a perk or what's a positive of being on tour?
Sometimes you get to drive bands you really, really like.
That is a perk.
And you get like one time I drove Malevolence from their practice room to an airport because they were going to Australia for a tour.
That's cool.
And they just got the mixes back from the Other Side EP.
Oh, right, cool.
Just then, in the van while I was driving, he was like, "Do you mind if I just stick it on so we can hear it through the van speakers?"
Amazing.
I was like, yeah, I don't mind. Crack on, Shagger. So he did it, and I just listened to these 3 tunes, and I was just trying to hold in this big gurn that I had on from all these major riffs. I just couldn't believe it. And he was like, "Do you think it's good?" And I was like, "That's pretty damn good." Like, there was a feature from the dude from Knocked Loose and everything. I was just like, It's hard to stay in the lines when something like that happens.
Yeah. Just playing it cool.
Yeah, and also I got to drive the Far Side, who are like a rap band from New York, and I'm not the biggest fan in the world, but they released a song which is one of my favourite songs ever.
Right.
So there's a good opportunity for me to just turn around and go, by the way, Passing Me By is one of the best songs I've ever heard in my entire life. It's made a ginormous impact on the way I do everything. Carry on. It was a bit early in the morning.
Did he say anything?
Thanks.
Oh.
Which was great, because that's cool as shit.
Completed.
They were just wearing sunglasses. It was the middle of the night. Just fucking lads. Yeah, it's great.
But I think that's everything, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, really?
It is.
Oh, it's been really nice talking to you.
We'll let you get some sleep if you need some.
I think we've got pizza coming and then doors
Oh, mate,
on.
pizza's a good solution.
Yeah, man. That'll send me to bed. little dough coma.
Well, other than that, Harry, thank you very much for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thank
Nice
you.
one,
Enjoy your
boys.
show tonight. We're looking forward to checking it out.
Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much.
Ta-ra.
So that was episode 58 of an Earful podcast with Harry Rule of Blood Youth.
Yes, massive thank you to Harry for coming on the podcast, and also a shout out to Donnie, and good luck in her new role because she's moving on from Noise Cartel, but thanks for all the help since we started the podcast. But other than that, we had a great time at the Blood Youth show. We also caught up with Paul from Death Blooms, and it was such a good show.
And we also got to meet Ryan in person as well. He's part of our own team. All fucking.
It was a full
gang,
full grouping of everyone that's to do with this podcast for once.
But yeah, don't forget to check us out on socials. Also check Blood Youth out first. Actually, go check them out. Catch them if you can on tour, because they were fucking great live, along with Death Blooms as well.
You can check them out as well next year when they're co-headlining with Kane Hill. The upcoming album, which still has Kyra on it, which sounds so good, is coming out soon, so make sure to check that out.
Yeah, and just head to our socials and just hit the fucking like button, get onto our YouTube channel as well, hit subscribe, because there's a lot more content coming your way soon, especially horror related as well.
Yes, if you have enjoyed anything to do with this episode, I hope you have anyway, make sure to check out all the previous episodes, and if you do like the podcast and you want to know more about it, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on all the socials, but until then we will see you next time.